Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Roll call in advance, you don't even gotta mention. I swap it in the deck, you're not bullish enough. Trade it in the segs, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Yagobi. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity, flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gonna end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me, no way. OnChain Revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain Revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain Revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recap, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, change. Yeah, send it to the deck. Sell it through the stack. Ordinals the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin crypto ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live from the OnChain Hour, and this one's going to be absolutely awesome, guys, because we are officially in June. Today is June 2nd. And what does that mean? It means we get a new dot on the PlanB chart. We get the May dot, and it looks phenomenal in my opinion. I do like the trajectory that we are on right now, and it is exciting. On top of that, we have a lot of stuff to cover. Michael Saylor buys a tiny bit of Bitcoin, not what he normally buys. He bought 705, and he normally buys like, I don't know, 7,000. But you know, when the number don't go up, he doesn't have enough money to keep buying, right? So, but he still bought. And then we got Metaplanet buying as well. We got a lot of stuff to cover as well. There's June is really big in a way that, you know, I truly believe that's going to pump the price of Bitcoin, and that way is the CPI. I think it's going to come in a lot lower than people are thinking. PPI, this is about 2 weeks away. I think it's the 12th, and then on the 17th we have 17th and 18th we have the Fed meeting, and I think that could be leading up to something special. I think this month of June is going to be absolutely huge for not only the Bitcoin price, but also alts. And when I say alts, I mean runes, right? Rune June is kind of what I'm expecting here, but not just that. But in order for that to happen, we do need everything else to go up. We need Ethereum to go up. We need the large caps to go up. We even need Polkadot to go up in order to get to where we need to be going into this next hype cycle that I truly think we are on. But let's get the show started. So without further ado, I'll bring my partner here. As always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's up,
man? How you doing? How was your weekend? How you feeling?
Weekend was a little rough, and you know all about it because, guys, you know, you guys might think, oh, you know, they take the weekends off. It's actually not true. We get one day, a Sunday. We grind it out early. Actually, probably our earliest day we wake up. But with that being said, you know, I did have some sleep issues Saturday, but I'm refreshed now. You know, looking at the Bitcoin's price action, I figured we would probably see, that pullback. I kind of talked about that on Friday and saying, hey, look, we're either going to try to touch that 102. I think we got to 103 something there, and then either on Sunday we'll rise back up, and that kind of happened. Sunday was a little mixed bag. It was like we were going back maybe to 106, and it kind of stopped in its tracks and hovered at around 104 to 105.5. But look, I am going to stick by this M2 money supply until it fully breaks down, and it hasn't. It still hasn't. So I'm in the camp of Rune June. I think that the Bitcoin ecosystem is going to be the biggest play in the last part of this year. So it might take some time to get there, but Rune June is a good start. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. Let's kind of get into the main topic today's show is, did you sell? Bitcoin is on its way back up. Hold onto the fiction place. We are seeing this little dip right now that we are in, and we both feel like Bitcoin is headed back to 107 at minimum over the course of I think the next 24 to 48 hours, honestly, before we head to numbers that we are expecting. Right? I'm expecting that 130. You're expecting 115 to 120, and I think that we're going to get that in the month of June, and kind of going in to the whole summer, right? Going into that August of 190, it's kind of what that chart's showing. But what are some conviction plays that you're kind of thinking of right now? Some you're like, I would never ever sell this.
Ooh, so I think dog is one of those for me.
Yeah.
And don't look at the market cap. The market cap actually looks fine, honestly, considering where everything else is. It's more about look at the social engagement. Dog is a hack right now. You're seeing Gate.io just do dog stuff that hasn't really talked too much about dog. You see like these bigger players just using dog in their post, and it's smart because you got to hand it to Leonidas. The guy has really created an amazing social effect with dog, hashtag dog, and dog go to the moon, right? So that's one of them. And then there's a couple other Billy to a Billy is something that I'll hold kind of dear to my heart. Going out of the Bitcoin ecosystem, it's tough, right? I feel like there's still kind of Solana's, there's a lot of junk over there. I've always said that. There's certain things that they're trying to change the culture over there, but you got Sui that's bounced back actually from the recent event that they had 2 weeks ago. So there's some other good plays, but right now I am kind of focused on the stuff that with the Rune June thing, try to take advantage of that. But outside, you have your Hyperliquids. I think that's a stronghold, right? You don't want to let go of hype, tokens like that. But I need to probably dive a little bit more into outside the Bitcoin ecosystem. But those are the two that I would hold on to right now, meme-wise, for the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Yeah, 100% agree. Definitely tokens like for me, FLDT, Fluid. I think, we had a conversation with someone today that said, they're probably the best builder on Cardano. And we were both just like, holy crap. So we're hearing this over and over and over that what they're building over at Fluid. And then obviously you mentioned dog. I mean, you put hashtag dog, you immediately get over that 300, 400 engagement. I've been using the hack all weekend, and it's been phenomenal. But it's fun too, because you get a lot of engagement, and then you can engage back, and it's just fun, right? We haven't seen that type of fun, especially in the last year or so, right? It's been very boring since last March, especially for coins on Bitcoin. But yeah, to your point, Hyperliquid, I'm probably the number one token to hold, in my opinion as well. I think this easily gets in the top 10. They're built something super, super special over there. And then, maybe tokens outside, ETH, definitely a huge hold right now. I think ETH's about to hit numbers. I have a chart that looks like ETH might hit 96,000 probably within the next couple years. So we're gonna get into that a little bit.
96,000. Woo!
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If Bitcoin gets to 700K, you're telling me ETH can't get to 96?
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to see it right now. You know what I mean? Because how much it's kind of been suppressed.
4K.
Yeah. I don't think it's hard to see Bitcoin getting to those numbers. I mean, kind of a little bit, but not like Ethereum. But that's usually, look, Ethereum's not going anywhere. We all know the TVL in terms of DeFi, Ethereum's king. It's the crown. So I think it makes sense, but it's just so hard to visualize at this very moment, right? But then you think about, when they do make their catch up, which is going to happen. I think we both agree with that their catch up's going to happen. They might sprint to the 7K, 7 to 10K by the end of this bull run. And then that's whenever they can really take off. So
last cycle, TVL push price, right? When TVL was climbing, price pushed, right? We're about to see trillions of USDC, of USD1, of USD or whatever, US whatever. We're about to see trillions of dollars in stable coins come into the market. And what that's going to do, that is going to take ETH to levels that no one's ever seen. That a lot of that TVL is going to be sitting on layer 1 Ethereum, in my opinion, because that's going to be the safest place to put that. And I think that you're going to see a huge lift off in Ethereum. Ethereum's going to look at like you're going to want to control it. And how do you control it? You buy more ETH and stake it. And you're going to see these guys see all the TVL, and they're going to be like, we need to get more ETH, and that's why I think you're going to fly it. But what that does, that's a trickle down effect, right? That goes into the large alts, goes to the small alts. So that's kind of what we need to kind of blast off this entire market. We need ETH to go up because obviously, retail doesn't give a shit about Bitcoin. I mean, Coinbase is like number 400 right now as most downloaded app. So they just don't care about Bitcoin.
Well, it's because like the regular everyday person, when you go up to them, think about this, like 10 years ago, if you're like just a regular person that would grind, let's say they were blue collar worker, but made a decent living for their family. And they're like, I'm looking to get into something that gives me good upside. And you're like, well, why don't you buy gold? They're like, gold's already kind of like, they want like, what's new? What could pop? What could give me that new excitement? And Bitcoin's not that for a lot of normies, right? But Bitcoin meme coins could be that, or Bitcoin utility projects could do that, or 100%. Even other projects that are strong outside of the Bitcoin ecosystem. And so, but this topic here is like, did you sell because you panicked because it was, oh, they're doing this to us again? I think this was the most vulnerable moment for that to happen to people, because we've gone through this kind of situation before, but they don't realize that we're about to go in. We're still completing, like tailing the money supply. It hasn't finished yet. You know what I mean? So for us to finish, that's going to be more like July. So we, first half of June might be a little bit bland. That third week might be where it cranks up, and it hits that 115 to 120 or 125 or 130, like your target is, right? And then we kind of calm down before the big dance is what I'm gonna keep calling it in Q4. But I think that I get the panic, but you got to remember your convictions. Why were you holding it in the first place? If you're just a trader and you made profit, kudos. But that's not easy to do.
I honestly forgot how to sell. Like I don't know. I haven't done anything in like 3 months. I haven't done anything in probably since like maybe March. Like I've just been buying runes and stuff. The money comes in. I just flip it to runes, right? That's all I've been doing lately. And I don't even like, if I did sell, I would do stat ceremony. So I do know how to sell my runes, but I just won't right now. It's so stupid. But hopefully you guys are still in this. Hope you guys are still convicted like we are, and we can kind of get ready for something special.
Yeah.
All right. Let's kind of get into the first topic of today. Is Bitcoin May close was 104,646. Red dots continue. Let's kind of bring up PlanB's chart here. Something I truly follow. I love the stock to flow. I love his dots and everything. So this is where we're at right now. We had this upward momentum, and then we came back down, a V-shaped recovery, and now we're sitting here. We had never really seen anything like this. I guess you could say 2017 was like this if we start to get some momentum, but we haven't had these blank spots at all. And I think we're about to get one though soon. I just don't know, but I mean we might see. I mean, there's a lot of red here, bro. A lot of red. So which basically means accumulation or bull market.
Yeah, and that's the biggest difference is this cycle is the institutions have come in and it has kind of thrown off those first two cycles were weird too. They were like really split out. And almost, what's I notice here is that it seems to clump the more cycles we go though. Like if you look at like the second one's a little bit similar to the first one, but okay, so I'll say those are the same. But the second one and the third one, they get closer and closer. Now we're just like bunched up. We're just like it's one like red line that has like dots in it. But look, I think it hit his target though, right? Wasn't that his target? 104 around there.
Target for what? So
for where we are currently, are we on track of what PlanB expected? I guess.
Well, he's expecting 500K. That's his really only target, between 500 and 700K. It's kind of what he's saying. But I mean, I think he's still on track for it. Honestly, I mean, I think we get this upward trajectory. Let me kind of jump into his other chart. You can kind of get a better feel for kind of what he's thinking. Okay, here it goes. So this right here. So this is kind of what he's thinking. So now we're starting to get orange dots here. So this one's a little different from the last one. This is months from the next halving. So right now, when we're dark red, we're 45 months. So we'll get, the 40 months. So we're about 35 months away from the next halving. So they're starting to get a little bit orange here. And as you can see previously, when we get orange, we usually get ready for a top. Yellow is kind of when we top, though. That's going to be November, December, January. So, I mean, we're starting to get to the point of blast off. As you can see, when we do reach these orange dots here, these lighter orange dots, we start to really push. And you've seen that. I mean, look at this, right? This is orange, yellow, yellow. So,
and last cycle
still pretty far away from that.
The last cycle was different because it's manipulated, right? It's like that early push up was manipulated, we know for sure. So it was darker red, and then when it came down, the orange was in there, but it popped back up in the yellow. So I agree with you. I think this is a perfect setup for like a really strong end of the year. So
or first quarter of next year, right? I mean, you can see this 2026. I can definitely see it hitting this number around here. So we still have a lot to go. We still have basically the entire bull market. We're only halfway done, in my opinion. I think, we have at least another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably another 9 more dots before we hit this this number here, which will take us in the Q1 of next year. So I don't know. We have a lot of time left, and I mean, and even so, I mean, let's just say we go. This is super extended, and we don't hit it until 2027. I could see that as well.
Yeah, that would be interesting. But at the same time, I wouldn't be like, this is so weird because our cycle's already been disrupted a bit, not necessarily for the bad or good. It's just more different, right? Because institutions have more control than they did before because they're here. They have basically said, hey, we have planted our flag in terms of we're going to be investing in Bitcoin and some of these other assets as well. So
I actually wouldn't be surprised to see a super cycle to where we continue this and we actually go on this side and stay up here for a little while. And a super
I think a lot of people would like that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we have, everything in place. We have a Bitcoin president. We have, a Bitcoin vice president. We have regulations. We potentially, Jerome Powell is going to be either fired or step down. And potentially we're going to get, real low interest rates. This could be an environment where we do see that super cycle that people were talking about back here. We could see something to where we go right to $1 million by 2028.
Yeah. And your boy, Tom Lee, came out with a strong prediction. Did you hear about that?
What do you say? 250K by end of this year and $100 million.
He called 100 million.
Yeah, 100 million Tuesday.
No. I think the projection that I heard was a little bit further out. So maybe I'm talking like mid 2027 or something like that. But he called 3 million. He called 3 million, and the guy has been pretty on point with his forecast. So
that would be a super cycle. That would be exactly what I just said.
Yeah, that's what brought it up. That's what brought it up to me.
That would be the upper side of this. I mean, you got to see up here, that's 10 million, right? This is kind of, and then we could see something like that all the way to 10 million or 7 million, right? So my targets are 700K for this cycle, and this cycle ends next halving, or 6 million next cycle, and that could end in 32. So I think by 2032, we're going to have a $6 million Bitcoin.
Make sure you're holding on to that Bitcoin.
Yeah, man. All right. Let's take our boy Colin talks crypto here. Let's kind of jump into his chart.
We give him the most exposure, I feel like.
You give me a chart in 5 months ago that I'm still talking about him in June. I mean, come on, right?
You're doing something right, yeah.
So he does say this here, but let's kind of jump into the global M2 BTC supply before we get into that. And all right. So this is it right here. This is updated as of yesterday. So we are seeing very similar to what we had. Remember last week we were talking about was like, yo, dude, we didn't do this dip.
Yeah.
We didn't do dip, and we actually got that dip finally. But if we are a little bit late here, we could be a little late here. We could start moving up now. I can't see where we fall out. We are on the cusp of falling out here. If we do head down the 103, 102, we're gonna be falling out. We potentially is okay. We have seen deviation before, but I wouldn't be too happy with that. I kind of want to see upward momentum here going into the mid-June. I mean, this is speaking, this is June 15th right here, right? So, I mean, dead center. June 15th,
I mean, there's only a couple to where Bitcoin actually fully does an inverse, which is that one right there. If you go back to October of 2024, that is like crazy to a T inverse. Like it does the almost exact opposite the entire time. It's just wild. I don't think we get that here just because I feel like if we did a full on inverse, we're taking it down to like below 90.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know, man. I don't see that. It doesn't seem like one of those sell in May, go away years. But I don't know. We'll find out. I think worst case scenario, I think we tread along that line, but who knows? We could maybe have a pleasant surprise and then start to kind of creep up and follow back, kind of get back on track. We'll see.
Yeah, 100%. Look at this though. So back here, November, with correlation was dead on the entire time. It's very similar to what we saw here. And then we saw the money supply actually shoot up, right? And then Bitcoin went the opposite way. So we could see something like this again, but over time, Bitcoin did eventually come above it, right? So
which is that's tricky though. Look at that. It did the inverse on the good side right after that. So it's kind of like you might say, well, the M2 supply didn't work. Look, there's nothing when you deal with like financial markets, especially volatile that are newer industries, like nothing's going to be perfect to a T unless you're BlackRock that has Aladdin probably is like something that works very, very consistently for them. But this is as close, I think, as you can get this cycle in terms of Bitcoin's forecast, in terms of a tool to use. I don't know. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, 100%. This is the number one tool. I mean, this is the number one chart. This and PlanB, in my opinion, has been pretty damn accurate going forward. So I don't know. Definitely something we'll be keeping an eye on. But if we do get, a thing where we kind of go up here and go sideways and kind of miss this jump, I do eventually think we're going to get it. It might just be a little late, but I still believe by the 15th of June, we're going to be sitting at between 135 or 125 and 140 potentially.
Yeah,
also,
I've been here in July a lot, and so who knows? That would be really, really good probably for Arch if they launch in July and Bitcoin's thriving at that point, getting it's at 130. We'll see.
July 15th is the day that everyone's kind of planning on all these ETFs to kind of at least get start getting pushed in, and then maybe they go live in September. That's kind of what I'm hearing, But the buy the rumor, sell the news could be huge in July if that gets accepted. I mean, we could fly up until they actually get listed and have a pullback before pump after. But
if alts haven't ran before the ETF rollout, that's got to be the moment. We'll see though.
Yeah, well, but again, too, like it's going to be a few months before they go live. I don't think when they get accepted.
Announcement.
I think Bitcoin was different in a sense if they went live right away, but I think it's going to be a few months before they're allowed to actually go live. But I think they're going to get accepted on July 15th. So I think July 15th to August 30th could be absolutely massive. Moving along here. So Colin talks crypto. He actually had this other thing. I respect this guy so much because he's like he goes deep in stuff that I really wouldn't look into. And this next thing here is Coinbase app rank in the iOS app store is 407. Historically, when it's ranked number 1 is when we're near top. So we're nowhere near top right now. And let me actually show this chart. This is the chart right here. As you can see, we are absolutely not doing well on this. And you can see there's a top there, and we are here. So we're definitely in this new range of downloads, but 0 to 500 is not good. We need to get back to the daily 1500 daily new downloads thing. But he actually has some comments in here that is kind of what I brought this up for. So he said, you'll notice 6 months ago in November, December, the Coinbase app ranked number 1. This was when BTC was around 95 to 107. However, the BTC price recently made new all-time highs, but without the corresponding app rank reaching number 1. The low sentiment with a high price sort of like reset an RSI is a perfect for another price move upward. So he's saying that this is kind of like a low point and we're at 107. So this is another reason why he's thinking that we're going to hit, 130 to correlate with the M2 money supply. So, but yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. We're ahead an all-time high last week or the week before. And I think it was like last week. And the Coinbase app was not even doing well at all.
I'm going to go back to what I've been saying the past couple live streams that we've had. And it's that Ethereum really needs to start that engine up, and I think that's what's going to bring these downloads back and the interest from the public saying, okay, I don't have to buy Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the only thing that's running up. Ethereum is moving now. Now, what else is there? What else can I get in? What's new? I think Sui has a big opportunity, like a token like that, or one that's newer that says, okay, this is new, I can still get it early, and then retail will be like, okay, it's time to come over, let's make some money or whatever. We'll see. We'll see how it starts, but I do think that Ethereum is kind of that starting kind of like, I guess, trigger to get retail interested again.
Yeah, retail likes meme coins, right? They like meme
opportunities,
stuff, right? They like opportunity and stuff like that. So we'll see. I recently did have someone hit me up and say, "Hey, should I buy Doge?" And I was like, "You should take off the E." And he's like, "Dog." He's like, "What's that?" And I was like, and he's like, "How do I buy it?" And I was just like, I don't know. It's like,
how much money you got?
Early,
how much
dude.
time
We're
you
so
got?
Early. We're so early. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to like it's okay. Send your Bitcoin. How do I send it? What am I sending? And it's just I just don't want to deal with it. Just dog can get listed on Robinhood or Coinbase. So I don't got to deal with that shit. But yeah, but we'll see. MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor, we talked about it in the very beginning of the show, has 705 Bitcoin, adds 705 Bitcoin for 75.1 million at an average price of 106,000. So he bought way higher than we are today between May 26th and June 1st. So now Michael Saylor actually has a crap ton of Bitcoin. He's over 520,000 Bitcoin right now. But this was a very small purchase to his normal purchases, which is a little weird. But he's saying that this is the interest that he's earning. He's buying Bitcoin with it. So,
just the interest, huh? $75 million worth of interest.
Yeah, in a week, bro.
He probably didn't want to like put any more current pressure on the board, the shareholders, and all that stuff. And so I think this is probably smart for him to pull back a bit and say, hey, but I'm still buying. Like I'm not buying. So it is weird to see the size amount be smaller than what it typically
it's still
is.
Weekly though. But for him, he needs Bitcoin to like shoot up $20,000 for him to be able to get like, I don't know, a couple billion, right? Like because he can just leverage his stock against that, and he's like, oh, we somehow came across 4 billion, let's buy more Bitcoin. So Michael Saylor only buys when things pop because that's when he can get more leverage or more liquidity.
Yeah, he's kind of also fighting back some pushback too from the conference of that whole. I think that's going to go away, but like you still got to deal with it for a week or a couple days, however long it lasts, and maybe he just didn't want to like go up or buy a ton right after that.
So right after that, Metaplanet came out and they bought 1,088 Bitcoin worth 114 billion. So they actually beat Michael Saylor this week. They actually bought more than MicroStrategy. They now hold 8,888 Bitcoin. So they made sure they got the 88888. I know that's big in China. I don't know if it's big in Japan. I know Metaplanet is out of Japan, so with the eights, but worth $930 million. They almost got $1 billion in Bitcoin. This was a small company when it first started. Now it's like one of the top 5 companies in all of Japan.
This not only do I think like they're following the Saylor playbook, obviously, right? But people are going to soon realize that being involved in so Bitcoin, this was definitely the right move for them, the size of the company they are and their goal. But like having crypto intertwined with your business model eventually is going to be a attention hack.
Yeah.
Meaning that like right now they get so much attention because of this, right?
Yep.
I didn't know who Metaplanet was before they decided this, right? They're not like the Sonys, the Hondas, you know what I mean? They're not those type of Japanese countries, but now I do consider them possibly being as maybe not as big as like Honda or anything yet, but growing, and so I think that was such a smart move by them, and it is risky because you're kind of you have to convince all of your shareholders, you have to convince your board and all that stuff. But if they're on board, like GameStop is kind of slowly rolling out this plan as well. We're gonna see how well they do though.
Yeah, I see GameStop doing really well off this, especially this cycle, but we'll see. BlackRock deposited 4,113 Bitcoin, around $429 million worth to Coinbase Prime about 4 hours ago now. The first move to sell after more than a month of consistent buying. So I went and looked, and it's not covering last week's sells because that's kind of what I've always thought when they do, because you'll see it like every day or every morning. If after the market closes or before the market opens, you'll see either Bitcoin coming from Coinbase Prime or leaving Coinbase Prime, right, and going to BlackRock. And so I was wondering, I was like, damn, did they, did that much sells happen on Friday? And no, this was the first notable move to sell, which is why it's catching attention. So this is absolutely huge. But one thing about BlackRock, they're not being like Germany and dumping it on the market. This is a OTC deal. It's the same way that Saylor buys is the same way they're selling here. So this is not affecting the market. It might affect sentiment, but that's it.
That's why I think people are even talking about it, is because they want to use it to manipulate in terms of sentiment, right? But I guess you got to report on that regardless. I mean, BlackRock selling that much Bitcoin. One thing that's interesting is I just saw a headline, and I don't know how accurate it is. I need to dive into it, but BlackRock had just acquired like a decent amount of Ethereum. So are they trying to put a signal out there and say, hey, maybe things are going to start to flip here in a little bit? Not sure.
So, it's hard though, because like when you see the ETH ETF, I mean, you don't know if it's BlackRock buying or people, you know what I mean, that are just buying the ETF. Not even customer clients, just people. I can go to E-Trade right now and buy ETH through their ETF, right? So you don't know if it's BlackRock itself or just random people
still though
accumulating together.
Still indicating something though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's indicating that people want ETH. I mean,
100%.
People are getting risky right now. That's risk on move. I mean, you don't go from Bitcoin to Ethereum. You might start. You might be seeing people sell down their Bitcoin and go into Ethereum, because this is what happens in crypto. Like this is the last 15 years or 10 years or how long Ethereum's been around. You've seen people go from Bitcoin to Ethereum to small alts and then back to Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't had that move yet. And so, if this is kind of some early indication that this is what we're going to be coming to, then I don't know. I just would probably keep paying attention to the inflows of ETH and outflows of Bitcoin, because this pairs a little bit with Saylor's smaller purchase, saying, okay, they're selling. Saylor bought less, but Saylor's not going to be one to buy Ethereum. You know what I mean? So this is more of his pullback, is just buying less. BlackRock possibly selling and then getting into Ethereum. I know that could be their customers or like you said, Fidelity's customers that are going through their fund. But still, just something to pay attention to and just keep your eye on.
100%. So Federal Reserve Chairman Powell is giving opening remarks at the Fed IF Division 75th anniversary conference, making decades of global financial research and policy insights. June 2nd, which is today at 1 p.m. So you're going to see him speak in about 2 hours and a half. And I don't know if he's going to say anything about the monetary policy or anything like that. So I don't know. I think this might be a big nothing burger, but you are seeing people on the timeline say that he's going to resign today. I was like, he's not going to resign. I'm giving the opening remarks at a 75th anniversary conference. Like, that's not going to happen. I can't see him resigning at all. But this is a huge nothing burger, in my opinion.
The headline was hilarious. It said, Jerome Powell possibly resigning, then Trump will lower rates. And I was like, Trump will lower rates? Oh, so Trump's gonna take the chair spot. Obviously he would find somebody, right? Or there would be like
somebody.
Yeah, well, I think there's someone that kind of is like vice president, right? Someone kind of takes that spot temporarily until they find the next person. And so maybe the assumption was that he's going to convince that individual to lower rates, but it said Trump will lower rates. It was funny the way I read it, but obviously huge speculation with that. It would be wild if it happened, but huge speculation.
It's not happening. I'd bet on it. I wish I could bet on it, but I doubt
might have it.
Yeah, I looked. I didn't see anything. But all right. So the next Federal Reserve policy meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 17th and Wednesday, June 18th. So Wednesday, June 18th at 2:30 is when he's going to speak again. At 2 p.m. on the 18th, we're going to find out if he cut rates. And people are thinking it's 50-50 right now, whether he's going to cut rates on Poly Market right now. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he cuts rates on the 18th? I guess it all depends, right, on what happens on CPI, which is June 11th, and PPI, which is June 12th.
Does it really matter unless PPI is skyrocketing high, which we expected it to be high last month? It wasn't.
It dropped.
It actually was less, surprisingly. And then CPI, I felt like CPI has been pretty healthy, and he just still hasn't dropped. And not sure if that's because he's concerned about the whole tariffs plan and all that stuff. But regardless, I don't know what could make him cut rates. We've been in a couple situations where I think we look pretty good, and he hasn't really indicated that he's ready to cut. So what would make me think that he would be ready to cut now?
Yeah, I think he cuts here. I think CPI comes in lower than expected. I think PPI comes in lower than expected. And with his last meeting with Trump, I think if you're going to have a man-to-man conversation, and you're like, hey, like this is my plan. The people voted for this plan. I just need you to cut rates to make sure this plan is successful. And if he's sitting there and he's hearing him and he's like not stuck in, I don't think Jerome Powell's the type of guy to be kind of stuck in his plan. I think he's open for conversation. And the president of the United States, who people voted for majority, he won the majority, right, of the U.S., right, in votes. So I think that, he has to take that into his plan and say, you know what, let me just do this for Donald. Let's just cut 0.25. It's not much. 0.25 isn't much. It's not going to change the world, right? It's not going to change anything, but he might do it for Donald to kind of keep everything going, getting good terms, because like he's all about his legacy, and he doesn't want to be the enemy of the United States, especially the president who was voted in by the majority of the people.
I feel like maybe he took things a little personal early on in the year whenever Trump was a little bit not so nice to him in his tweets and stuff like that. So some people, humans are really stubborn people, man. And if when you take it down to a personal level, some people won't talk for like married couples won't talk for like a month, but they still live together, And so like it depends on if he took that personally. But then I think the personal meetup is where Trump thrives in his negotiations. It's like, hey, look, nothing's personal. That's his approach, really. It's like anything I say is never personal towards you. That's where you can convince them. We'll see if that worked. Either way, it would set off, hey, we are in a little bit more risk on environment. That bill passes through. There's $3 trillion worth of, capital that goes somewhere, and I think the reason why he wants that to pass is because he wants markets to respond like positively towards it.
Yeah. 100%, man. And I truly believe, lower rates is the liquidity that we need. Again, I'm in the camp that's saying, the reason why we had the last bull market was because rates were zero, and rich people do not use their own money, right? They borrow and then invest, right? And I think that's what was happening before. But we need rates to drop a whole point before we can potentially see that again. And that might take 6 to 8 months for something like that to happen with these 0.25 cuts. But rich people, they don't like to use their own money when they invest. They like to borrow at cheap rates and just try to beat that rate the best they can. And I think that's when we can kind of see a liquidity spiral and headed to Bitcoin and risk on.
Absolutely. So if the rates cut to a decent amount before Q4, then we could see that crazy blow off the top.
100%. All right. So I have a few more things here. This is huge, actually very negative news, but the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, issued a formal letter to the ETF Opportunities Trust, the issuer behind the proposed Ethereum, ETH, and Solana exchange traded funds. The SEC questions the legality of Ethereum and Solana ETF proposals, raising red flags over staking rewards and possible violations of the Investment Company Act due to passive income structures. So this isn't good. They're basically saying they're not okay with a staked ETF. We did see Crow One actually just get pushed to their desk. And so they're saying a spot is okay, but staked might not be.
I think it gets messy, right? If you're staking an ETF, ETH, obviously the problem is making sure that everything is back 1-to-1. And I think this is where things could get cloudy. And we already, had products in TradFi that were probably similar to this, but it was built up so strong to where it didn't collapse, right? And whenever a problem comes into the mix in TradFi, you have the big boys, the Kenny Griffins and stuff that come in to clean things up. And so they probably just want more clarity for the public, and I don't blame them for that.
Yeah,
they're just going to have to put if they do push this through, they're going to have to put a really big rule that says you have to show clear collateral 1-to-1 of everything or something like that. And I know that you can do that because they have their funds are managed by Coinbase or whatever, but I think it's more work for the SEC though. To constantly have to go through this level, that level, this level. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, it's super easy, honestly, to check it because they're going to be locked in validators. So the problem to me is not whether you can check 1-to-1, because I think that's going to be easy. The problem is, so when I stake, let's just say Polkadot, for instance, because I know that it's 28 days before I can unstake, right? So let's just say I buy this staked Ethereum, right? And it takes, 7 to 20 days to unstake it. I want my Ethereum now. I sold my staked Ethereum, right? But now they don't have the backing because they got to wait a certain amount of days. So it's not, you can't change that unless you like basically have a fork. I don't know what it is for Solana. I don't know what it is for Sui, but I know for stuff like Polkadot and Cosmos, it's 28 days to unstake. And so we're going to do,
well, that would just fall into the
28
consumer
days.
agreement. That would just fall into the consumer agreement. If you are participating in the staked ETF, then you have to wait what we have to wait.
But there's nothing like that ever existed. You'd have to put new rules in effect.
But the reason why they're doing it is not to screw the consumer over. It's because that's how it works with the Ethereum validators.
Yeah, that's kind of what the SEC is saying right now. It's like this isn't a viable option for the ETFs, because when you can't stop somebody from selling, right? Like you can put, if you sell, you got to wait 28 days to receive your cash.
I mean, there's like, certain CDs that you have to keep in there for a certain amount of days. It's not like this is like,
it's not an ETF. That's the problem, right? There's other instruments, other tools like that available. But
it would be a new tool like that.
Yeah, I guess we'd have to, but then we need a full-on, a full-on new tool. Like they don't create new stuff. It's TradFi.
Right? There was some point where they created that, and it was new.
Yeah, but we're talking 20, 30 years ago.
But you have to. This is an infant. This is an infant industry, right? Like we're in our infancy stage. So this is the stuff that happens in these early days. You have to establish what are products. We're going to see a bunch of new stuff that's from the RWA side of things that might be different than traditional way of doing it.
But it won't be an ETF. So we won't get staked.
So they're going to have to rename the product. It's going to be, a different product, but maybe they're just like, this needs to be way more clear in terms of the consumer, because at the end of the day, they are there to protect the consumers, what they're supposed to be doing. And hey, I actually kind of like this, because previously it's like, they were going after people that weren't doing bad things in our industry. Yeah. This is not like a bad thing. They're not trying to like screw over the consumer, but the SEC is saying this has to be way more clear, because at the end of the day, the consumer is the one that has to be able to, feel safe with this.
Yeah. I mean, you could just stake it though. You could just, it's not that hard to go to Lido or just buy,
these are not educated. These are not educated. Obviously, some of the TradFi, if you're in TradFi, you're probably educated, but you're not educated in our world, right? The DeFi, that kind of thing.
I'm just saying though, instead of using validators, you could just buy liquid stake. You can buy liquid stake tokens, right? But then that's like the only way I can see an ETF, liquid staked.
They probably would want that product anyways, because they can 100%. Make way more money on that.
You lose money though, because it's 6% on chain and then 4% by Lido.
No, I'm talking about retail users would lose, right? So the if you keep it there, then I don't know how it could work, but I'm sure they could whip up some sort of mechanism where the financial the financial institutions make a little bit off the top if they want to sell early or whatever like that. Maybe they give them their own like staked ETH or something. I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. So I maybe the institutions could come up with a mechanism with like, you want to sell early, you can, but you're just going to lose 2%, 3%, whatever percentage that is.
You'd have to fork up. You'd have to make sure that there's more ETH or Solana in that fund than is staked, right? But by doing that, you're losing out on potential earnings of 6%. So, but if you just say, hey, we're gonna have an ETF for staked ETH, for liquid staked ETH, and then I think that's one possibility that could work.
Yeah, and you basically don't give them the actual staked ETH to sell. You don't sell that for them. You give them what the rate would be if they were to sell that liquid staked
ETH, buy it
ETH
back.
And give it to them in USDC or whatever, because they want the cash anyways, or whatever. You know what I mean? Or you give them that amount that's equivalent in regular ETH, and then they keep the staked one, and then they can unstake it at that point. I'm just saying, there's going to be definite approaches to this, to where they say, how do we come out on top? That's what it's going to be with these financial institutions. They always.
I think it's a liquid staked version or nothing. I can't see them letting them do the validator, but we'll see. But you also spot, right? But why hold a stake? You're losing money because there's inflation, 6% a year. So, but I guess they don't care. The US dollar has way more than that. So Meta shareholders reject BTC treasury proposal and call it unnecessary. So it's looking like Meta will not be joining GameStop, MicroStrategy, Metaplanet, and those companies with the Bitcoin-backed treasury, and Tesla, who actually has one as well. But is this a big deal, you think? I thought Facebook would get into this, but I guess
this reminds me of Vanguard. When Vanguard rejected the Bitcoin ETF, and they ended up paying for it, and I think Meta's going to end up paying for it. I think Zuckerberg actually wants this to go through.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, man. But let's kind of get into that crypto fear and greed here. So last Monday we're at 69. I miss those days. Yesterday we're at a 56. We're a little higher, a tiny bit higher than yesterday's 56.
See, this is where you get me when you say the tiny bit. 57.
Yeah, 57.
Oh, okay.
So we're right there. We're sitting in neutral. Like I said, I missed 69. It's such a great number. But no, I'm just joking. But I don't want to. I want to get back here, bro. I want to get back.
Yeah, we will, dude. I think we actually
Promise?
picked back up. Yeah, I think we picked back up this week, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong a lot, so we'll see.
Yeah, man. But let's kind of figure out exactly where we are and get into that Bitcoin price action and crypto bubbles. Brought to you guys by Artura.finance. Artura, they're going live on Hemi mainnet very, very, very soon. Hemi is awesome because they are a layer 2 of Bitcoin, but they are backed by Binance, which means, if they don't have a token, which they don't, there's a good chance that potentially down the line they might get listed on Binance, and you could get the Hemi token for free potentially. This is what I'm thinking. By using Artura.finance on Hemi and earning not only the ARA token, which is the Artura token airdrop, but potentially the Hemi airdrop as well. They will also be launching their site on Botonics, another Bitcoin layer 2. And Botonics has said they won't have a token, but they will incentivize using the chain. So by using Artura.finance on Botonics, you potentially can get some incentivization, I guess you would say, on that as well. So definitely looking forward to playing with Artura.finance on Hemi and Botonics and earning.
Right around the corner, guys. So make sure you're paying attention to that. We'll have that team on tomorrow. Should be an exciting segment there for the Artura team AMA tomorrow, every Tuesday. But before we get into the Bitcoin price action, as always, I need you guys to help me out on the YouTube side. Smash that like, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. On the X side, let's share this space, guys. Help us out there. Let's educate, onboard as many people to crypto as possible. And on the abstract side as well, guys, let's share that stream. But let's jump into some Bitcoin price action here. I am going to start, as always, on the hour chart, but it's not looking as bad as it felt on Friday, but we're kind of in this limbo price action area between 104 and 105.5. But let's take a look here. You can see the trend has kind of died off here. There was this pretty long extended downtrend right here. I know that I cut into that candle, but hey, I'm just going to put that there because that's how I can make it work right there. You can see this extended really, this is what got us down to that 103 level there. But then now we're going sideways. So typically whenever you have an extended or even a decent trend up or down, when you go sideways, that's whenever we're either going to continue on. Typically it does reverse. And so that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Obviously, I could be wrong with that because it could have a continuation down depending on how the market is and some macro factors. But macro really hasn't played too much except for the M2 money supply here. So yeah, we are kind of chopping back and forth, right? So if you think about the channel, the Bollinger Band here as well is starting to tighten back up. It did open up a little bit, but these are just choppy back and forth, right? You can see the leading indicators here, the stochastics. Look, we're in a pretty decent spot. We're at that 22.86 mark, which means that we've crossed over the oversold. So we could start to head back up, in this try to start our journey back to the overbought territory. You can see the MACD as well starting to get a little exhausted, but it's tricky whenever you have these big candles and then they start to exhaust, right? Because it can really open back up any moment. But it seems to me, at least, you can see this blue leading MACD indicator line starting to curl up here. So it is showing that, the exhaustion is happening, and maybe we're going to get some smaller candles and maybe come out of this. I wouldn't be surprised if we do chop, the next 4 to 8 hours, and then later on tonight we come out a little bit. It doesn't even have to be with a bang or anything. So, maybe for the next 4 to 8 hours, I'll say 4 to 6 hours, maybe we kind of chop with a little bit of up and down. So it might be a good time to scalp both ways. And then I think we probably work our way out of this later today or maybe throughout the night to start the day tomorrow. So I would say be very careful. I do expect the chop between 104, 105.5, that kind of day today. And then we'll see what happens in the second half of today if we can become bullish there and work our way back to the 106, 107 level. The 4 hour, it's not lined up perfectly with, you know, what the 1 hour does. Sometimes whenever you have two different time frames that are showing similar information on these leading indicators, that gives you more conviction, right? I'm not really seeing that, but I am also seeing a possibility of a reversal. So, you know, 4 to 8 hours, this gives you a 2 to 3 day forecast. So let's say that we do have that chop, like I said, for the rest of today, or at least for the next 4 to 8 hours on the 1 hour chart, and we end up working our way back up. Then what this would do is kind of give us maybe even a smaller candle here, and then kind of open up the buy pressure again on the 4 hour chart. So I wouldn't say it's like a horrible situation that, you know, invalidates the 1 hour chart. I would say, let's see how this, you know, today plays with the 1 hour chart. And then if we get that, you know, pop back up in the second half of today, then I think that's whenever the 4 hour chart could kind of see a little bit of a continuation of the buy pressure, a little bit of a reversal pop back up here. So let's look at some of these kind of more local support and resistance levels. So we are sitting right here at 1043. And it does look like the support is starting to overpower the resistance a little bit, not too much. I'm going to go really local because it's 4 hours. So we're starting from data from yesterday, because I think that's good. So right now, I mean, where we are right now, it's definitely, the support is overpowering. You can see we're at 165 to 128. So this 104.3 looks okay, but then we get here, and that's whenever it flips. It's almost the opposite of exactly what we see here. And then when you get up to these higher levels, it's even with more support, more support, more support. So if we can actually kind of get that later part of today more bullish, we find ourselves up in these levels, that could really, you know, kick the week off, you know, going into tomorrow and Wednesday, and giving us a little bit of bullish action. I'm not expecting anything like us to run back to 111 or anything really quick, but hey, getting back to 107, 108 would be a win, in my opinion, for the next couple of days. So that's something to keep your eye on. The weekly chart, we have been dominating with Bitcoin for a while here. You can see a little bit of exhaustion on the MACD for the weekly chart. I'm not worried. Look, this second candle, this is a live candle here, so this can actually reverse if we end the week in the green, right? But last week on Sunday, yesterday, basically, we ended at 10, what was it, 105? It might have been a little bit lower, like 104, high 104s or low 105s. But if you look at some of these really strong push-ups, you know, there are corrections in there. So it's not like this is so super abnormal. We had a really great run running from 77.5 in the beginning of April to where we are right now. So, you know, you're talking about a $30,000 gain in 1 month, which is amazing, right? So having this pullback makes a lot of sense. And if you played that, you know, from early April to where we are now, you could have made a lot of money if you played it smart, right? Like low leverage, but you had a lot of capital to work with. But, you know, you could have done well. $30,000 increase all the way from early April. But we are in a pullback, it looks like now. We'll see if this continues or if this reverses. There are some one-off situations, right? Like if you see some after some of these big pull-ups, like for example, little red candle here in between this massive kind of time frame that we had a continuous uptick. And then also right here from November of 2024 to December, we had a little bit of a disruption there. So this candle right here could be that disruptor, or it could start kind of like this bull flag, right? We could have a bull flag. You know, this one was an extended bull flag. I hope we don't get that, because that would not be fun. That ended up going there, but like something like this, right? We could have a bull flag that's choppy for the next, you know, four to 6 weeks, and then we pull back up. I don't know. I don't really see that, because I think we all feel like July is going to be a good month. And if that were to happen, we could have, you know, a green, red, green, and then like go up. So it could be like a 4 to 5 kind of just choppy this month. We'll see how the first 2 weeks do of June, though. I still think we're in a good spot, guys. I truly do. We're in the summer, heading into, you know, eventually heading into that Q3 and then Q4. Actually, I think we are in Q3. We started Q3. Or it might be July 1st is the beginning. April, May, June. Yeah. So July 1st will be the start of Q3. So heading into Q3, we could get bullish then. So that's what we're looking at there. On the others, let's pull up the others on the weekly, which is everything besides Bitcoin and the top 10 majors. Let's take a look here. It's been really bland on the weekly. That's a 5-minute. Okay, I was like, that's weird. Let's pull up this. Let me rephrase that. This happens every time. I hate this. Yeah. So let me open this up. But yeah, I mean, how do you feel about what I just said about the weekly chart? Do you expect, possibly kind of forming a bull flag there, or is it more just like a little bit of a break, you think, for a week, maybe two, and then we're back on the saddle?
Yeah, I'm still in this week's going to be a big week. I think we're going to have maybe today, tomorrow red, and then we're going to have a giant candle, whether it's the Wednesday or Thursday. I think that we're going to continue this upward momentum, and I think it continues very quickly. But we can't go up 30K and not have any type of sideways or pullback. We need that to kind of make sure guys like James Wynn get liquidated before we go to the next level. So
yeah, it's so crazy. It's always, what have you done for me lately, right? And
yeah.
like $30,000 in 1 month is a big win, and we don't look at it
know.
that way. We're just like, give me more, give me more. Anyways, as you can see here, the others, yeah, we definitely need Bitcoin to turn things around here, or Ethereum. If Ethereum can run up, this chart's going to look really good very quickly. But look, this is not surprising. Bitcoin pulled back, Ethereum pulled back along with it, still kind of stuck to the mother's teat, if you will, there, in terms of Ethereum's price action, relying on Bitcoin's. But I wouldn't be too concerned. In my opinion, it's definitely not a time to panic sell, but that's just me. If you did that here and then Ethereum takes off next week and all of a sudden this chart looks absolutely crazy, then you're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have sold my Hyperliquid, or I shouldn't have sold my, fart coin, or whatever, but I think we're kind of in this holding pattern on the weekly chart. This doesn't look the best for the leading indicators, but again, this is all dependent on two things: either Bitcoin pulling back up, which is not going to be the best beneficial situation here, but you will go back up, or Ethereum saying it's time for me to start my own path this cycle. This will immensely benefit from that. So I think we're kind of in a holding pattern here, but I wouldn't freak out too much. I'm not, and that's my thought process on it. So that is the others for the weekly chart. Let's take a look here at the daily. Doesn't look too bad on the crypto bubbles, guys. We are in the top 100 here. Let's look for that smelly fart coin.
All the way to the right.
Oh, okay, down 2.5%. So at least the decrease has kind of gone. Yeah, it's gone down a little bit though. I think on Friday it was like minus 7 or something.
And so, it was right.
Yeah, Fartcoin is always right, man. It's like when you start to sniff something, I guess it's gonna be either good or bad, because it means it's doing something big. But when it was green, everything was following it. When it's red, everything.
So tomorrow, and it was one of the first coins to go red too, right? So tomorrow, if we can get a little bit green, even 0.01 green tomorrow, we could see Wednesday and Thursday being massive.
Bullish. Let's check out our guys from the dog community. Give them a little shout out here. Okay, minus 1.9%. Look, as the entire alt market has pulled back, this has been dog's best performance in terms of how bad it's pulled back. It's always been low percentage. I'm bullish on dog. I'm bullish on the social effects it has. So shout out to the dog community. You guys are doing amazing work. Keep that up. I think dog is going to be the #1 talked about meme. Maybe not market cap, but talked about. And if mass adoption happens, who knows? But taking a look at some other here, Cato down 6%, Mog, another meme that's popular, down 2.3%. Let's look at some stuff that's in the green here. Is this syrup? Is that pancake swaps?
No, that's not pancakes, but that's the Maple.
Wow.
Maple Finance.
Maple's been on fire. I know. So Maple was one at the end of last cycle. That's I think the beginning of the bear market, where it was on our targets, but we were just like, it's so early, and we're like, yeah, everybody says they can do all this utility. Maple came through with that utility. I mean, they have all types of financial partners that have great RWA stuff. So utility is going to come back and make a strong comeback, and I expect Maple to be a part of that. ApeCoin up 3.5%. There must have been some news here, because I'm surprised that they
sold Moonbirds. So Yuga Labs sold Moonbirds IP.
Okay.
So didn't they just sell punks?
I guess that's
and
good.
Now they sell Moonbirds. What is going on with them?
I think they should have sold punks. They handled punks horribly. Oh, okay. Remember whenever they came out with that weird?
I thought they did sell punks 2 weeks ago.
They did. No, but I mean when they acquired it though, because they acquired it like in 2023, I think, or something. And they came out with this weird collection. Remember, they were like 3D characters or something, and everyone was like, "Just focus on apes, guys." And I think that's what their plan is now, which is smart. You should do that. Do Luca Nets. That's the playbook, guys. That's the playbook. Really quick, I do want to go back to the top ones because that was the top 200. I only went in there for dog. Virtual's down 4.9%. You know, Virtual's had a lot of attention. Our guy Francis Dune and his community have been really into that. Hyperliquid up 3.7%. Not shocked. They use their fees to kind of keep their token up. That's a really beneficial thing. I think if you have that capability, you have to have that option though, meaning that your platform has to create tons of fee volume. And if that happens, you can do really good stuff for your token, which in turn benefits your community. That's a great playbook to follow as well, but you have to have that demand for your platform for it to work. And that's not an easy thing to do. You see Core here in the top 100. Wow. They're up 1.5%. Core is a Bitcoin layer 2, kind of backed by Binance Labs there, or Ventures. Tau down 2.3%, Arbitrum up 2%, MakerDAO up 7.4%. So these are a couple of the Radiums down 7.4%, a couple of the main altcoins, guys. So yeah.
So Sonic is back to like bear market lows, back in the 30-cent mark. In the bear market, Sonic was between 20 and 30 cents the entire 2022, and is now got down to like 38 cents again. So that's eye-opening, really, because Sonic was just 80 cents in January. And for something like Sonic to move that much, this is definitely a huge buying opportunity in my opinion. I think Sonic's going to be a huge winner this cycle, but you're seeing it right now getting beaten down. But it is up 5% on the day.
Yes, sir. So that is going to close up the Bitcoin and altcoin price action for you guys. Hopefully this gives you guys some insight, but I would say don't panic. Right now is the time to get locked into your convictions, and maybe you do change some stuff up with your convictions, but you do that when you're calm, not whenever there's like, oh, Bitcoin is dumped and all this stuff, right? So you just got to get your mind right. That's my 2 cents.
100%. Let's jump into the next segment here, which is Merlin Chain. Every Monday, we're lucky enough to have Jeff join us for Merlin Mondays, and it's been just an amazing roller coaster of a ride that Merlin's been on. But last week was absolutely massive for Merlin Chain. They got listed on Binance Alpha. Jeff actually tutored us about Binance Alpha, and it's basically Binance goes and buys tokens for you using PancakeSwap, and basically it's not listed, but you can buy it and hold it on via the Binance chain. And then I think a day after we spoke with Jeff, they actually got listed on the Binance Perps. So that's absolutely huge. So Alpha plus Perps equals something. I'm not sure what it is, but it's definitely a connection between Binance and Merlin, which is actually absolutely beautiful. And it's come a long way. Merlin has come a long way, and it's been amazing roller coaster ride to see.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. The partnerships lately and just the integration into different ecosystems has been like as best as you could play it, I feel like.
Yeah.
Right. And so
100%.
super happy for Jeff and his team, and looking forward to when you start to set those expectations, everybody's like, man, what's next? Right. What's next? And you gotta kind of bring yourself down to reality a little bit and see, be patient, and these type of things happen, right? With talented people. So
100%. But let's bring him up. Let's bring up Jeff. Jeff, welcome back to OnChain Revolution.
What's up, guys? Sorry, just responding an email. Hey, it's Monday, yeah.
How are you doing? Obviously super busy lately. Do you feel like your time is getting shorter and shorter to where you have available time, and like that could be a good thing, right? Especially with new partnerships and all these types of things.
Yeah, I think every builder right now are kind of busy
locked
because Bitcoin price is coming up, and but yeah, we actually had a holiday this weekend. Today is the holidays, the Dragon Boat Festival. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's something that Korean, Vietnam, Chinese, like all these Asian countries. So yeah, we're actually taking the day off for Monday. And yeah, like you guys said, we're on the Binance Alpha. We're still I think we're there, like the top 2 trading volume for about like 10 days. Every day is about it's like
that's incredible.
I think on the PancakeSwap, it's like 400 mil. But if you go into the details, it's actually about like 700 mil, because I think CMC only is stays the USDC, but when you combine USDT, BNB, and USD1, it's about like 700 mil for about like 10 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think the volume on the Pancake swap is actually very good, and that leads to the Binance Perp. Binance Perp is the biggest perp trading marketplace for all tokens. Very 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 limited token amount of tokens are listed there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, I was going to $1.9 billion actually in 24-hour volume, which is crazy. And you just mentioned Pancake Swap, and that's a DEX, right? So you're not talking about like a centralized spot or even like the perps, right? So that in itself is almost half of it. So that's got to be a huge win. What do you feel like has really propelled this energy? This kind of is it you just creating new relationships in the network and just building new relationships for Merlin in general? What's been, do you feel like the main thing for the recent success of Merlin?
Yeah, I'm not going to say success. I think it's like on the way.
Yeah.
We are we're being humble and on the way up. I think if you understand crypto, you will definitely value how many marketplaces you're on, because that determines what kinds of people can buy or what kinds of institutions party can buy your asset. It's like putting your stuff on shelves. So like why Coca-Cola is good, because it's on every shelf. No matter 7-Eleven or Walmart or Costco, Coca-Cola is there. And if you look at like Cardano or Ripple or Dodge, people like some people may wonder like why are these tokens so high value and like traded with such a great volume. It's because it's on every shelf. It's on Korean exchange, it's on Coinbase, it's on Robinhood, it's on European exchange, it's on every Chinese exchange. And that makes people want to buy these assets because they know the liquidity behind that is very important. So talk about Merlin. The Merlin token was on Merlin chain before, and I would say very very like small portion of the users in the current crypto space are using Merlin chain. That's a fact you have to face. It's not just Merlin. It's even like Aptos, Sway, like Arbitrum, Avalanche, like all these chains, even with billions of dollars of valuation. I would say like only like 5%, 3% of the users in total are using them. But if you see the trading on Ethereum, Solana, or BNB chain, that's more people are trading that. That's why we have to make Merlin token on Ethereum or BNB chain. That's the first. And second is like the perp. Why are we trying to get on the Binance perp? It's because I think Binance perp takes over like 70% of the perp trading volume. If you look at all these exchanges, if you look at Bybit, if you like first Korean exchanges don't even have perp. Coinbase.
I'm actually shocked that Korean exchanges don't. They like to gamble
because it's like regulated. Yeah, it's regulated.
Oh, the government knows that they like to gamble. That's why.
Yeah, like the Coinbase. They don't have perp. On the US side. I don't even know if you guys US citizens can trade on the Kraken perp. Can you guys do that?
I don't think so. They still block it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's called Kraken perp, but it's actually Kraken International. Like Coinbase, they have like international. But if you check, those, like Kraken and Coinbase International perp trading volume, to be honest, it's like very 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 small. So like right now, the biggest is Binance, and then Hyperliquid, and then Bybit and OKX. These four take, I would say, like 99% of the perp trading volume if you deduct the wash trading. But that's just like something we all know. In the crypto space, that's why we are getting we need to get on Binance perp, because we are already on Hyperliquid, we are already on Bybit and OKX. So that missing piece is like the one last thing we need. And if you actually, I don't think our account tweeted about that, but if you check how many perp exchanges list us after Binance, it's over 10. We didn't even like retweet those because we don't think many of them are important enough to retweet, which is kind of arrogant by us. Sorry about that. But
that was the nicest apology ever. Like smoothest.
Because like sometimes our social media people, they just like they cannot retweet retweet everyone. But I think they retweet too, some major ones. But over 10 perp exchanges list Merl after Binance because it's trustworthy, and they just basically use the same mechanism that Binance used. And also there are like 3 more on chain per exchange like Hyperliquid also list us. So I think that's why we are getting on the Binance Alpha, and that's why we're getting on the Binance Perp. And if you see, okay, these are down, so what's next, right? So basically you can see very, very few exchanges haven't listed Merl yet. So I don't like talk about listings, like I rarely talk about that in a Merlin Monday show, but I'm just saying in philosophy, it's very important to put your stuff on every shelf. And that's how the institutions can be attracted. That's why Ethereum, Bitcoin are on ETF. Solana is going to be on ETF. Sui is going to be on ETF because you're putting your stuff on more shelves.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
makes 100%. I mean, you can put it in more stores. Like you're right, so you're everywhere. But the funny part is about Merl is like, so I typed in cash tag Merl and I was looking at it. People were thinking that it was a meme coin. People were saying the degen wizard Merl, and it was like it had it on top 5 meme coins, and I was like, do they realize Merlin is the gas token or one of the gas tokens for the Merlin chain, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be considered as a meme token. People are more hyped about meme token than governance token. It's like a big scam, the governance token.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have been crushing it, honestly, in terms of that, and that's what you want to see from a founder, to like that kicks it into high gear whenever the time needs to be, right? And so that seems to be what's happening. But you guys have some other updates as well. I know we've talked a little bit about like the new staking option that is going to go into effect someday this week, or is it maybe next week, or the 6-month staking option?
Yeah, we announced that like last Tuesday, I think, and so we wait about 7 to 9 days. So I think it's kind of it's definitely going before Friday, so probably Wednesday or Thursday, and that allows users to to stake for a fixed time range. Sorry, I need to close the door. 1 second.
No worries.
Yeah, so that's huge. So right now it's 15% APY, right? You lock it in at 7 days. The new one, 45%, and then you lock it in for 6 months. I mean, it's a lot, but you are getting the rewards daily. Correct?
You can, that's an option for you to claim them daily, right, Jeff?
Yeah, and like I said, if you knew about how to do arbitrage, like shorting the tokens on Binance, it's like no loss, because even the price drops, you're making money from the perp, and you're getting 45% APR anyway. So I think that is I know this sounds kind of complicated for retail users, but I know for sure many institutions are going to do that, because we've seen some big transfer from exchange to on-chain, and also from the 15% APR to to withdraw. So institutions love this kind of arbitrage, because they're basically just making money out of nowhere.
Yeah, love that for sure. So that opportunity is going to start when? I'm sorry, I missed it. Wednesday?
Later this week, before Friday.
Okay, perfect. And we'll walk you guys through that. We'll probably do a quick little recording on how to do that, and you can choose between the options of just the regular staking or the 6 months locked in. But the APR is definitely going to be higher. It's going to be about 3 times higher. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about. I think there's a lot of people that don't understand that this whole plan of Merlin chain, there was multiple things in it. Obviously, trying to be a scaling solution for Bitcoin layer 1 assets, ordinals, BRC20s, runes. That was a big part of it, because you have that passion for the Bitcoin ecosystem. And then 2, which I think a lot of people forget about, is the MBTC's part of that. That's going to be a foundational future part of Merlin chain, correct? Or am I wrong there?
Yeah, because BTC-Fi is like a very, very undervalued sector. Because there's like $1 trillion, $2 trillion worth of Bitcoin out there, but there's just like not many of them are used. So before Merlin, like I think we have talked about this and check the DeFi number before Merlin, there's about like 10 million TVL of Bitcoin ever. But right now, like imagine how high is that? The number is about 5 to 10 billion. So like in just 1 year, it's coming from like a couple $1 million to 5 to 10 billion dollar worth of TVL for Bitcoin, and including Babylon, Solve, MBTC, Lombard, all these BTC-Fi projects. So how high the number could be next year? I'm guessing at least 10 to like 20 billion, which is like a very, very conservative prediction.
I mean,
So
Ethereum's
so
at 60, right? So I mean, that's saying a lot if we get to 20 billion.
yeah, and even with like 2% APR with 20 billion is a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's like $400 million of incentives every year. So I think this is definitely like an undervalued sector, and you can see more mainstream teams, ecosystems are working them, because like last year when we talked about BTC5, people think this is a scam. BTC5 could be a good BRC5 by ticker, but it doesn't mean anything to anyone. But like right now, you can say like you can see all these chains like Solana, BNB chain, Base, Arbitrum, Sway, Atos, Movement. All these chains are trying to get more BTC on their network. That's what happened in the Bitcoin Vegas. I mean, I'm not there, but my team and some friends, partners are there. So in the dinner, everyone's talking about how to bridge Bitcoin to their chains, and I think we have some major partnerships. MBTC is already bridged to a Sway network, even though with the CEDAS accident, we still have strong belief in that ecosystem. Sway is a very, very great founding team. They're trying to do their best to. I think they are going to cover 100% loss for that incident. And MBTC is already bridged there. We're going to create some trading pairs. MBTC with stablecoin, with WBTC, with XBTC. XBTC is a Bitcoin from OKX. BTCB is a Bitcoin from Binance. CBBTC is a Bitcoin from Coinbase. And also, WBTC is like the OG Bitcoin, wrap Bitcoin there. So you guys, all these major players, they are making a move on BTC5, and I think Sway is one of the major partner. And we also have locked, millions, hundreds of millions of dollars for another stablecoin project, using Bitcoin to, like DAO, like MakerDAO, using Bitcoin to
collateralize.
Stablecoins, collateralize and stablecoins, and using stablecoins to do more DeFi farming. We haven't announced that partnership yet, but this one is going live in June. So yeah, I think even with all these projects getting listed, the hype, because the hype is created by influencers. They talk about these projects because it's going to be listed. But even after all these projects getting listed, I think there'll be more moves. On the BTC5 side. And I was having dinner with the founder of Solve last Friday, and they also discovered, more ways to generate, yield with Bitcoin. And also they're trying to work with, Korean, Japanese, local exchanges to do more, stablecoin and the government side kind of RWA projects. I think there's like another company in Japan. They bought 8,888 Bitcoin.
Metaplanet.
So I think so you can see more institutions, more governments, they're backing Bitcoin, and they're what's next, right? Because they're going to use these assets to generate yield. That's what happens with like the Social Security Fund. Like you guys have Social Security Fund in US, in Canada, and these institutions are the major investors around the world. You can see all these big name VCs. I think I'm kind of off the topic, but I think they are all kinds of like related. So you can see all these projects invested by like Sequoia, like Pantera, Paradigm, like all these big funds, right? These funds are not like printing money. Their money are coming from all these like Social Security Fund, like all these big government backed foundation, because they're trying to make yields for the Social Security Fund, because they're going to pay every US
because they don't have enough in the fund, so they gotta make it somehow.
Because you have to make yields, and that's what happened with Bitcoin next. When you have all this government fund with Bitcoin, like if Trump has a fund with 50,000 Bitcoin, what's he gonna do? Like just put Bitcoin there? No way. He's going to use that Bitcoin. So I think BTC is definitely undervalued. I think people just have so many, people don't understand what's going on there. But with trillions of dollars, there, people are going to figure something about that.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think it's so easy to try to catch what's the short-term thing in front of your face and stuff. Like, yes, like doing the ordinals and all that stuff is definitely fun. And I love that there's a part of Merlin that offers that. But people didn't pay attention to the big plan. And in my opinion, that's TVL, right? And so by being able to put more foundation behind MBTC is going to benefit Merlin, the Merlin holders, and the chain itself in the future. So I'm excited about that. I guess my last thing for you is there anything else that we haven't hit on? Maybe you want to let us know, or is that pretty much cover everything?
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything for now. I think we're going to have some new updates this week as well. I think the AI product we're trying to ship, we have been waiting for a while, and I think we have a better, clearer plan with that as well. And also, still trying to get listed more. And one more thing about BTC5, I think that's how we react to this kind of topic. Last year, like April, May, everyone's talking about BTC5, and at that time, we are kind of bearish on that, because not actually bearish, but more like being conservative about that, because when people are hyped about something, that's when it's like overpriced, overvalued, and you can see many people try that. They didn't make enough money, blah blah blah. But now I think everybody just undervalued BTC5, and that's when you need to actually pay more attention, because right now there's just less noise, but more signals, more actual stuff behind that.
Yeah, man. Like, could you imagine one of these big holders, right? Whether it's the US or MicroStrategy or even Metaplanet, just converting their Bitcoin into Bitcoin, or even like a little portion of it into some of these wrapped versions of Bitcoin, and earning a yield on top of that. I mean, the US alone could make billions of dollars a year just basically staking their Bitcoin and getting 4% on $100 billion. I mean, that's $4 billion a year in yield. I mean, you're going to see more and more of this. These people are not stupid, and they know how to earn. And BTC5 is going to explode because of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. World Liberty Fund, they already have the WBTC there, and right now they're working with Binance. So you can definitely see something is going on with the Bitcoin side of that. But just things take time, and also because it's from the government side, so the regulation might take some time as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was really great to see kind of like the East and West work at that level together, to where they're open to work with Tron, they're open to work with Binance. They're just like, whatever's the best opportunity, let's do it together. And you see that too at those dinners. There's people from the East that go to the dinners that they hold and all that stuff. So hopefully, both sides can really build some foundational.
Yeah, that's the one thing you love about Trump. He doesn't care.
He's a businessman.
Yeah, he's a businessman. So he works with everyone. Russians, Chinese, Singaporean, Europeans. It doesn't matter. Middle East. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, Jeff. Well, thank you so much. We know you're a super busy man. Can't wait to get you back on next Tuesday. But we will talk to you later, sir.
Cool. See you guys.
Take it easy.
Jeff. All right. Let's kind of jump into the roll call here. A little late with the roll call, but we'll still knock that out for you guys. So on the show, if you don't know, first is first, and what that means is I take the first name of the comments and I put it on a paper here. And as you can see, we are on it looks like day 111 of the year, live show wise. So we did 111 shows already this year, bro. Today's 111 lives, or 111th live show. Which is kind of cool because we can kind of track it here. But Webdro, congratulations. I'm sorry, 110. Today's 110. So tomorrow. So Webdro, you have the 21st win of your career. No, I'm just joking. But this is absolutely awesome, Webdro. You are back in it, bro. Danny is number 1, followed by Webdro, and then Lackey Lukey with 20. So it is a 3-man race right now, but still plenty of opportunity for anyone to really take this. We're not even 6 months in. We're about 28 days away from 6 months, so you still have another 6 months to go. So this is gonna be awesome. If you don't know what this is about as well, we're giving away a Bitcoin frog. It's something that we've always wanted to do, and now we're gonna make that possible. But we are gonna make the winner earn it, and that is how you're gonna be number 1 here. So it's gonna be December 31st at around 3:00. We're gonna be giving away that beautiful frog, which was one time valued at over $20,000. So right now it's valued around $800, but who knows where that will be on December 31st. But Webdro, congratulations to you, my friend. All right, let's kind of get into the rest of the roll call. Danny Boy right there. So Webdro was 724, and then Danny Boy was 725. Absolutely awesome. Then we have let's see. Tim Baker. You guys finished.
Hey, he's back.
He's back, dude. Been a while, Tim. Shout out to you, my friend. 1+ at. Shout out to you, my friend. He said, I buy your bags. You buy my bags. 100%. Merlin's Lucky is here. Shout out to you. Merlin's Lucky. Lackey, Lukey, Webdro, Mats again. PJ NZ, Peanut Butter Jelly Time himself. Shout out to you, my friend. He said, I still stacking Nakats, Heroes, some runes because with Shizzy and Yagobi, it's still an or no revolution. Shout out to you, my friend. I almost read that and my brain was saying on-chain because I have to do that all the time. Sometimes I'll read or no revolution and I gotta like immediately change it to on-chain. But yeah, shout out to you, my friend. Thank you so much for always being here, PGNZ. WebJoe says PGNZ, at least one wizard of Ord for the Ordinal Revolution. 100%, guys. They're really, really awesome. Malam Yuri is here. Shout out to Malam. Bitmap Capital is here. Mempool Punk here every single day. Glasshopper, our guy. Appreciate you, my friend. Bitcoin is Truth is here. K99, Spindrift, Vader Time, Abstract Chain for the W. Mats is here. Shout out to Mats. Chief Axel every single day. Appreciate you, Chief. Hillbilly is here. GM from the PA Wilds. Appreciate you, my friend. It's been a little while for you too, but appreciate you being here today. Dumbo says Ghosty doing the work to come
haven't
back
heard that
at
name
the
in a while.
moment. Me either. Team never stopped working and stacking I don't know. Coming soon. Oh, staking coming soon. Just in time for the bull run. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Ghosty Cash, guys. I'm kind of bearish.
Well,
right
hey,
now,
look,
so.
if the product is blowing people out of this world in terms of like how good it is, then hey, but we'll see.
Rick G, it's your GM fam. Had a great time with Chief Axel and LV.
Nice.
Super nice guy and full of positivity, a true gem in Web3. Shout out to Chief Axel, man. We actually felt the same way after meeting him in Nashville, 100%. MoChain said, what's up, on-chain fam? What's up, MoChain, our guy? Zach is here. Shout out to Zach. He said, what about Bank? Bank is trash. I wouldn't hold the stable coin. I wouldn't hold the coin. I love Jack Glue, but I just don't think he makes good projects.
He's a funny, entertaining person.
He's a character.
There you go.
I like it. I like the character that Jack Lou portrays. Drex is here. Shout out to Drex. Pups goes down. Yeah, Pups is down, dude. I'm all.
Did it get beat down?
It's gotten killed recently. Sup says the Bitcoin machine himself, Patty Poo. Mogar the Great says, "Sup guys, I'm trying to get an idea looked at. Please respond to my exit comment."
Yeah. So I actually was talking to Shizzy a little bit about that today. I'll DM you, Mogar, and we can talk in there. So
yep. Hydro Sapien says, "Dog go to the moon." Yes, Rune June. Shout out to Hydro Sapien. Thanks so much for being here today, my friend. Mogar says, I sent a message to you guys. E-Trades, Block Runner, Benny the Dev. All right, it looks like you're trying to get in touch with some people here. So yeah. we'll definitely hit you up. Tangled Lotus is here. Said, what up, folks? What's up? He said, Yagobi verse GOAT. So you got a fan.
Appreciate that.
For sure. Mogar the Great says, what is this XP all about in the live chat? Yeah, it's something YouTube did. We're not 100% sure, but we might somehow play with this. Yeah, we're looking at ideas to kind of see maybe a daily winner of somehow. Maybe give away some spots to some things that we're working on and stuff like that in the future. We'll see. Justin Chill is here. He said, hardly on the way back up. It's not getting through 106. We'll see. Mark is here. Shout out to Mark from Launch Punks, our guy. And then Chief Axel says, at Rick G is an absolute legend and true gem. Had a wonderful time. I can't wait for the next one. Shout out to you guys, man. I love it when our people in our chat become friends in real life. It is absolutely beautiful to see. Absolutely two beautiful people, man. Shout out to you guys 100%. And that is your roll call for today. Appreciate every single one of you guys who makes roll call every single day. It is absolutely amazing. I do have a few more things if you're cool with that. You cool?
Yeah, let's dive into it.
All right, so this one is pretty cool. So Fred Krueger says Mara has 49,140 Bitcoin worth 5.13 billion. And they have 57, I guess that's the amount they're mining with. And they are mining about 1,000 Bitcoin per month. Their market cap is $5 billion. So they hold 5.13 billion in Bitcoin, but their market cap is less than the actual Bitcoin that they have. And they're actually mining 1,000 Bitcoin a month. Is Mara potentially... I wish Mara was a coin. I can't wait. The Coinbase kind of tokenizes some stuff. I would actually hold Mara as like a safe bet.
Well, it's that is pretty crazy. I mean, I haven't researched many like big companies
Yeah.
that how much cash they have on hand because it's just not something that like I've looked
Yeah.
at, right? But this is definitely similar to that, except for the fact that this is going to be, you know, increase in value over
Yeah.
time. So if it's worth 5.13 billion right now, we think that Bitcoin is going to at least 5 to 7x by let's just say the end of 2026, 2027,
Yeah.
right? Then you're looking at 50, like more than you're looking at like a $25 billion. That's of course they don't sell down. They're going to sell some of that for expenses and all
Eventually.
that stuff.
Yeah.
But like a market cap at 5 billion, that's a huge win for the crypto world. But they have more in like an asset that's going to go up in value on hand than what their market cap. This is crazy. This is mind blowing. And I'm curious if that's really Fred's last name, because that's just so weird, right? Freddy Krueger.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know. He puts it on his books. He's an
Yeah.
author now, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, 5.13 billion valued at this is a $25 billion company. I mean, they're mining 1,000 Bitcoin a month.
I can't argue with that.
No, I mean, this should 5x easily. This actually might be a better hold than actually holding Bitcoin itself, because they're actually buying Bitcoin, not to mention mining it.
Are they going to pull the Sailor thing though? Because I mean, they kind of could.
I mean, they have been. They've been selling down stock and buying.
Yeah.
So all this Bitcoin they hold, it wasn't all mined by them.
Gotcha.
It's been bought. So, but you know, they have been one of the companies. They haven't sold any Bitcoin this entire bull run. And normally, the entire bull run, the miners are one of the leading sellers, and we're not seeing that this time, which makes me have two questions: whether are we really in a bull run, or the bull run hasn't started yet, or two, do they just see more value in holding Bitcoin than cash?
Whew. Yeah, I think they realize that Bitcoin's going to go up. They know that Bitcoin's going to go up. You know, let's say by the end of this year. I think that the I've heard multiple people say 230 to 250 by end of this year. And so, and those are people like Charles Hawkinson. There's people that are conservative too. He's not necessarily conservative, but I've heard other people say that too, that are more conservative by end of this year. And to them, that's not even like a big deal, you know, because you got the Tom Lees of the world saying 3 million in 3 years or 4 years, right? So, I mean, you know, I think that they realize it's going to go up, and they can maybe clip off some of that and then buy back their stock a little bit with it, or do whatever. There's so many options whenever you're in an asset like this in an industry that's like in its infancy still. And the like these ones that are getting early, dude, they could be worth so much in terms of company value in 5 to 10 years. It's crazy. You thought Google was crazy. You thought, you know, Apple was crazy. Mara, these type of companies might be absolutely value, and that goes to strategy too. You know, the value of them.
Yeah, Mara could be a $1 trillion company. If all they have to do is not sell any Bitcoin. You know, to figure out a way to keep the lights on without selling any Bitcoin, and this is a potentially $1 trillion company in the next 5 years.
Yeah, look, and you know, Fred. A lot of people kind of the thing with Fred is you either hate him or you love him, and I'm in the camp that I've known him before he blew up. We've known him before he blew up, and I've been in DMs with him and stuff, so I know who he, like, at least what I was able to kind of get from that, you know, talking to him before his account went to 100,000 plus. I think at the time he was actually small when we first talked to him, because it was remember it was about well, no, like when we first talked, Libre, which was 2023, right? So I think he had like 5,000 followers then. So it was small, dude. It was small. It was small, like 4,000 or 5,000. And but one thing I'll say is the guy's smart. He's educated. You know, he has his degrees, all that stuff. He's a mathematician, PhD with that. But I know he tries to kind of manipulate, like not manipulate, but play the market, play crypto Twitter in terms of like different aspects to get engagement and stuff like that. But if he's talking about this, then you know it's definitely got to be on your radar in terms of, dude, this could be crazy in the next 5 years.
100%. Mara Riot. I mean, I remember when Mara was a penny stock, bro. Like in 2021.
Wild.
Like, yeah. All right. Elon Musk says all new XChat is rolling out with encryption, vanishing messages, and the ability to send any kind of file, audio, video, calling as well. And then he says, which I don't know if he's just messing around or just doesn't understand, but I think Elon understands how Bitcoin works. But he said this is built on Rust with Bitcoin style encryption, whole new architecture. Sorry. But yeah, so this is Solana.
Is he talking? Is he talking about the X payment infrastructure? Is that what he's talking about?
No, this is the X chat.
X chat. So I think he was trying to make a point here in terms of like security wise. He's saying that like the encryption security, like the blockchain style security, Bitcoin's probably one of the best, if not the best, right? It's the best. Would you say
Bitcoin? Oh, by far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I think he's saying it brings that type of security. I think he worded it to where it was free for all for the Solana degens to be like, no, what are you talking about? Rust is our language. They use Bitcoin script, which is very like old and not but hey, look, there's new stuff coming in terms of like scalable layers in their languages. But look, you know, I feel like this is kind of a funny moment because, like you said, you know, you're not questioning Elon's intelligence, right?
No.
Okay.
It's just so if he said Solana, right, people would be like, Solana, you know, but the normies know Bitcoin, right? So if he says Bitcoin, but the maxis are all up in the comments, and they're basically trashing him, saying he doesn't understand Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't use encryption. Bitcoin uses hashes that are encrypted. Actually, the hashes are encrypted, but the normie doesn't give a shit. Like Elon is a salesman at the end of the day, right? So he's trying to sell this to people. So saying Bitcoin style encryption, I think is fine. I just think that most people don't understand that Rust is a Solana based model, and it's probably using a very similar architecture to Solana. So
I mean, is it using smart contracts?
So it's basically so it's kind of using a blockchain style of no smart contract, but it's using like a blockchain style of encryption. Like it's basically
the Rust
send you a message.
Yeah, Rust can just be for development in general, though. You know, so what he's saying is this is just like a
Rust
program
with
program.
inscription,
Yeah,
which is Solana.
well, like, you know, if you're not including smart contracts with this, then like people use Rust to build video games. People use Rust for like it's a programming language, right? But like, I just think like the people, those maxis, man, they stop taking every little thing so seriously, especially about Bitcoin. You make it sound like you're just uneducated, crazy person that's obsessed with it so much. That's like, I don't know, man. That gets on my nerves.
Yeah, no, I agree. USDT, the Tether, is increased the market cap by more than 5 billion versus the main competitor USDC in the last 30 days. And this is a quote from Tether CEO Paolo Ardoino. What do you think about Tether? Quietly printing right now. They're printing on Tron, while USDC is printing on Solana, but they're 5 billion versus the USDC competitor. I mean, people, this is a company that's quietly becoming $1 trillion company.
They've always been quiet about it. And that's what I kind of love about them, is that like they're like the easiest entity to hate in our industry that has been able to back everything up in terms of, I know people they don't want to do audits. I'm not talking about that. Number one. Number two, I mean backing up when people attack them and say, hey, let's break the house of cards. Well, you haven't been able to break it at all.
Nope.
Like, so
and they tried
at some point, just zip that mouth up, because you guys have been saying this since what, like 20 freaking, maybe even before 2020. I don't know. But
2017 was the first big push down. That's when 2017 was when the stablecoins first time entered the market. That was their DeFi moment, was stablecoins. And so they've been trying to crush Tether since 2017.
I always hold that one little educational nugget that I learned about Tether. I always like to pull it out and be like, remember, Tether was birthed on Bitcoin, because Jake Gallen told us when we first had him on the show. But look, Tether was birthed on the Omni layer, which is a meta protocol on Bitcoin, but had no purpose there because the maxis at that time were probably way worse, didn't want any type of on-chain economy or anything like that, which actually, for the people that are listening that didn't know this, that's the reason Vitalik actually created Ethereum. He was actually a part of the team that created colored coins back in 2013, right? And then you have Tether that make its way out of the Bitcoin ecosystem, which, by the way, there's Tethers that still exist on the Omni layer, but not much. And then just blew up and created this whole new like stablecoin environment and DeFi, really. And so that's the thing. I just feel like they are quietly just just shutting the haters down over time. And people might say, well, you shouldn't be supporting them. Why? Like they have the stuff that they do show is just really impressive. Like they're one of the top bond holders I think they're top 10, I think.
Yeah, they're number 8 behind Germany.
All right. Every other entity is a country that is in the top 10. They're the only one that's not a country. So look, I think they're going to be huge, like you said.
And the reason they don't want to show it is because they've recently they were buying yachts and stuff. They were in 2021. They were buying stuff super cheap with cash and then holding that. But like, so they didn't have liquid assets. They were buying buildings. They were buying boats. They were buying stuff. But it worked out for them because now they're selling those assets at 3-4 times higher than they bought them for. So that's why originally they didn't want to show their books, because they were using that money to invest, which a lot of people would say, hey, you can't do that, but you shouldn't be using the backed money. So that, I think, doing that type of stuff, but it's,
it works. It ended up working out. It ended up working out.
So, but that's a big deal because people are saying, Tether just bought 10 yachts in one neighborhood. Like in 2021.
And to be honest, to be fair, it looked like it could have been a disaster.
I know,
right? It could, but like they handled it right. They handled it right to where, I mean, that could easily go wrong. That could easily go south. But they've gotten themselves up to where when the Wild Wild West was happening, a lot of people let that. They got too greedy. But they actually was able to like say, okay, this is that. This is here. This is we're formidable. If we need to liquidate this, it can happen. You know what I mean? So is it ideal? Absolutely not. But you know how many things that have been done not ideal in TradFi by huge entities that we just don't know about? A lot. I'll tell you that.
Yep. I know 100%, dude. The banking system alone is one of the most corrupt places ever. It's just they have the political cards in their backing, and they can use it. But Tether doesn't have that yet. But we'll see what happens in the future. But I think
go ahead.
I just think that Tether is going to eventually get really, really legit, but they don't need to be legit in the U.S. to succeed. That's what people don't understand. Like, you don't need the U.S. as much as you used to, and they can be huge in Asia, just like they are.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know how bad you have to mess up when you have like the political figures in your back pocket, or like Congress to help you, or the government
bail you out.
2009. That's like the worst situation. That's what Bitcoin was created off of that, right? But and then we saw basically with the GameStop situation how corrupt it can be. So
yep, 100%. So all right, so the next thing here, Ted, this guy has like 300,000 followers. His name's like Ted Pillows or something. I don't know. I've been following him for a while at Ted Pillows. This is his account here, but he has a chart. I haven't seen anybody say this before. Like this is. I mean, I've seen Bitcoin charts like this, but not thing. And so obviously take this with a grain of salt, right? Because it's something. But this is kind of what I've been kind of thinking anyway. So right now we're sitting at around sucks I can't zoom in. But yeah, so it's sitting around $2,500 right here, and this is up here. It's showing 94,000. This is kind of what I'm thinking. Obviously, this is June.
Oh my god,
27. So 2027, 2028. He's kind of expecting ETH to hit $94,000.
Oh,
so something you can buy right now for 2,500 is going to be 97K. It's a little bit far fetched, but as you can see here, it is something that, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked, only because the amount of TVL that's coming to Ethereum is going to be insane. I know I've been saying a lot, but we're going to see stable coins come in,
that is true.
Trillions of dollars of TVL is coming to Ethereum. And what that's going to do, that's going to take Ethereum to the next level.
Yeah, people aren't thinking about that. Like, again, that's kind of like the everyday retail person thinking about what's in front of my face, right? Solana's hot. This meme coin on Solana's hot, or this is hot. What's hot? But like, we talk about these kind of things every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. or 1 p.m. Eastern. I had to do that little plug
whatever.
There, but we can. So these kind of thoughts are like in our subconscious because we hit on them so much. And the stablecoin thing is a big infrastructure deal, and they are going to use EVM because it's the easiest to onboard with security levels.
ETH too, a layer 1 ETH, because that is the safest. Right, you might see some people go off and use some of the L2's base and what have you, but if you want to be safe, if you want to make sure that your money is going to be there, the two places you're going to go is ETH layer 1 and base, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're right, and also there's going to be all types of when you're talking about $500 billion or how much ever comes in initially.
Multiple
with
trillions.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to be
Yeah.
put a number out there.
Conservative. Yeah, gotcha.
There's going to be regulators and these heads of these banking or financial institutions that are going to be working directly with the Ethereum Foundation in terms of their development. You got to make sure, like, this is not something that's like we're going to try this. No, like,
yeah,
we're going to do this, but we're going to do it when makes like their checklist is going to be probably like 10 pages long to make sure if this happens, then what? If this happens, then what? You know, but if they get that checklist done and everything is kosher, like you said, that liquidity inflow is going to be enormous.
Yep. And what that's going to do, that's going to make it fly. And that's not to mention all the gaming that's being built with Sony Chain and with Abstract Chain and all these other ETH L2s. I mean, the ETH blockchain is going to be the most utilized thing in the world, whether that's coming from L2 transactions or L1 transactions. ETH is going to blow. I know we mainly talk about Bitcoin here, but ETH is so undervalued, in my opinion, that I can't help but think about the life-changing momentum that this thing is about to have.
Yeah, because look, I mean, Bitcoin's kind of had its moment this cycle in terms of crossing over the 6-figure, which is a huge mark. It's that first, like, rites of passage of, okay, it's gotten to 100,000. Like, everybody's like, we got to take this thing like super serious now, which they did. Institutions come in now. Ethereum hasn't had that yet, but I agree with you. I think it's coming, and there's going to be a lot of people that are watching that are like, But I mean, look, guys, this is our industry. Yes, I know. In Shizzy, we both agree. Bitcoin is the most hard asset. It's the most solid asset in the world right now. That's our opinion, right? In terms of a single asset, but that doesn't mean that other parts of our industry aren't going to become popularized and heavily used. It's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen. So I think, like, there's going to be a lot that fade off and right into the sunset, but there's going to be the main players that are still here, and we already kind of have our first group of main players that aren't going to fade out, and Ethereum's one of them, and he's number 2. He's in that number 2 spot. So,
and he's been held down, like painfully held down, and we know what happens to assets who been pushed down pretty hard. They eventually explode, and I think you're about to see that happen with Ethereum, and especially when the big boys realize that they can control the chain by owning 51% of Ethereum. I know it sounds like it's a lot of money, but right now it's only, $200 billion. And there's some, Michael Saylor, he's almost at 60 billion worth of worth of Bitcoin. So that's not something that's impossible. You're going to see these guys want to control a good portion of it together, right? You're going to see Fidelity, BlackRock, the same companies that have controlled the world the last, 50 years. They're going to be the same companies who together can own the ETH blockchain by owning 51% of it. You're going to see it, guaranteed.
Absolutely.
So, all right, couple more things here. So Bitcoin hash rate still reaches an all-time high. So to me, I was a little shocked by seeing this. As you can see, as I'm bringing up my screen here. So basically, I thought, back in December, we kind of peaked, but no. So Bitcoin has kind of pushed, even with the price. So we're at 950 million hash rate, right? THS. And it's just climbing. This is the ultimate chart. I mean, as you see, we almost doubled from where we were in July of 2024. So you're telling me so much more miners have came online since the halving than ever before. This is so bullish, dude. That the halving was April of 2024. From July to now, we've seen it almost double in hash rate.
This was a chart that I felt like was going to be more like the M2 money supply, but it didn't play out similarly to the first one. Give me a second, because I feel like it does tail it, but it's not as accurate, or maybe we're not using the delayed part of it, right? Because I know, like, with the M2 money supply, it's really popular, so the people that are utilizing it and promoting it, they do the work for us, right? They kind of pull that price up 10 weeks delayed, and whenever you lay it on top, okay, you're like, that where you are is correct because it's following almost to a T. So I just never saw that hash rate, because here's the popular theory is that hash rate goes up, price follows. That's the popular theory, right? And I haven't seen it as accurate as the M2 supply, but maybe I'm not using the right charts. Maybe I'm not using the right stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you could see it, right? So the black here is the Bitcoin price, right? So you saw it go up to 102, come back down to 80, and go back up. This has just been upward momentum. You know, it doesn't dip, right? So Bitcoin kind of follows it. You know, it got too high and it had to go down to catch up. And now you can see we're kind of exactly where we were back last year before the explosion, right? So I'm thinking we're about to see an explosion. I mean, every chart right now is telling me we're about to explode. I mean, I don't care what it is. The PlanB chart, the hash rate chart, the M2 money supply chart. Every chart right now is telling me we're about to explode. Like, it's just insane. So,
well, I think we all expect it. It's just we might see some choppiness right now in the short term because again, our probably like a decent amount of our audience and even us sometimes we do this day to day. It's always what have you done for me lately, right? But you got to zoom out. You got to zoom out and be like, hey, look, we might see a little bit of choppiness, but as long as we don't reverse our direction we're going in, meaning getting below like okay, so if we dip below 100, I'm okay with it as long as we come back over really quick. If we dip below and we head to 95 and 90, I'm going to be kind of questioning it a little bit at that point. But I don't think that happens. I really honestly don't think that happens. If we do, it won't last long, and I think we come back over 100 pretty quickly because I expect something at least in the last 2 weeks of June or the beginning of July that's going to be pretty explosive, getting us to that 130. That kind of price, but we'll see.
I couldn't agree more, man. And that's our show for you guys today. Really appreciate all 197 people on YouTube and X, not to mention everyone on Twitch, Abstract, Rumble, and now Kick. We are now live on Kick right now as well. But shout out to every single one of you guys who listen every single day, and we'll be on Spotify later today. Appreciate you guys.
Yes, absolutely. Thank each and every one of you guys. Without you guys, we could not do this, and we love our job, and our job is to hang out with you guys and bring you guys the latest and greatest news in all of Bitcoin and crypto. We cover all of it, guys. That's our thing. I know we're getting used to covering other stuff outside the Bitcoin ecosystem. The Bitcoin ecosystem has our heart, of course, but we want to cover all news across the board. So we thank you guys, and we also thank our partners. So if you could check them out, they help us be able to do this as well. And Sats Terminal is the DEX aggregator swap for the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you're looking to swap runes right now, Doggo to the Moon is the hottest, maybe one of the hottest tokens actually just in our industry as a whole. You can do so directly at satsterminal.com and they will get you the most liquid, best pricing with that. And guess what? They also have a point system where you can earn Amber points. So if you connect your wallet for the first time, you get 1,000 points there. If you refer their referral link, you get 500 points whenever your friend connects their wallet to it. But then you can continually acquire more points as you do little swaps here or there, or big swaps, you get more points. But yeah, so they are partnered with pretty much everybody, guys. They are grabbing all the liquidity, making runes, liquid. So they're definitely doing a great solid for the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. And they have more features to come, guys. You see a couple links at the top, bridge and stake. I won't get into that yet because they haven't announced it. So we'll let them do that first, but head over to satsterminal.com, get dived into their docs and learn about them today. And then BetBTC is the predictions marketplace for the Bitcoin ecosystem. They got some big things coming, guys. We've been able to see under the hood there. Create your own markets, which you can earn up to 1.5% of the total volume of people that use your market or bet on your specific market you create. Also, you're going to have refer a friend, which you can earn 1% of the total transactional volume that they do. But even more cool than that, they're going to have a bet with friends situation. So all this stuff is coming. We know that we talked about it before, but it's just really awesome that you're going to be able to, it's like a decentralized poly market. You can create your own success with that. But if you want to play right now, they actually have a blitz market where you can, take a long or short. It's a very short term. They have the 10 minutes where you can lock in the price of Bitcoin, Solana, or BNB. You want it to go up or down, and then 10 minutes to see if you want. So you get 10 minutes to lock it in. I like to wait till it gets to a minute so I can kind of, but maybe if it looks really low at the 8-minute mark and you want to go long, you got to take advantage of what you think is right there. Also, be a responsible adult too. This is kind of a risky market with the blitz markets, but it's fun. Head over to betbtc.win. Head over to their Discord. Get connected with their Discord because they're going to do a lot of XP stuff, guys. Love this team. They are building for sure. And then Emblem Vault is the interoperability layer for the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you want to jump your ordinals to environments like Abstract, Merlin, Bitcoin Layer 2, or Base, and eventually Solana too, then you're going to be able to do so with Emblem Vault. They're going to be able to help you do that. And they also have their AI agent Hustle, which is, I think it's the top AI agent on Solana right now. If you're looking for an AI agent to help you research in the Solana trenches, which I recommend not going in there alone, especially in the beginning, because you will come out beat up. But Hustle is there to help you, right? To kind of give you some information. You can just paste in an address and say, give me an assessment on this token, and he'll give you like, oh, these are the flags. This is not. It's really fun to use. And once they add the Bitcoin tech stack to Hustle, he's going to be able to vault those ordinals for you and help you take them over to different environments as well. But try out Agent Hustle today. It's free right now, but eventually they are going to have something that's going to be integrated with their Tensor token, to where you're going to have to, at least hold some, or they'll put that information out, and we'll repost it for you guys as well. But make sure you check that out. And lastly, they have a Bitcoin rune for their overall ecosystem called the Emblem Founder Vault Keys, and you can participate in the pre-sale right now on OpenSea. If you head over to OpenSea and search Emblem Founder Vaults, then you can buy one of those, which are ERC 721. And then once the TGE comes around in September, they're going to give you guys instructions on how to get those Bitcoin runes into your Bitcoin wallet. But head over to emblem.vision, ask any questions that you have in their Discord, and yeah, you just get educated on them, because they're going to be huge in the future. And then Artura Finance is the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you want to trade synthetic Bitcoin fungibles like DAO Go to the Moon, maybe you missed out on getting in early. Once they go live here right around the corner, they're going to be mainnet with Hemi, Bitcoin Layer 2, and Botonics very soon. You're going to be able to trade DOG, right? In a perps environment. $1 billion CAT, ORDI, SATs, and then also the popular tokens outside of the ecosystem, XRP, TAO, etc. Let's say you're like, I don't want to be in risk-on environment. You can actually participate by adding liquidity to their staking vault, so you just earn passively that way. It's not, you're not in that perps environment to be risky, but more adding to their liquidity, kind of like you do on other perps platforms like GMX and Hyperliquid. But they're going to offer that to the community as well. Get connected with their Discord as well. Get into their documentation so you know how to really use their platform and play with it. It's in testnet right now. So head over to Artura.finance just to dive in there. And then Fluid Tokens is the UTXO Wizard dev team. They started off on Cardano. They're still there, but they're building big things in the Bitcoin ecosystem. They were the first to offer staking vaults to Bitcoin Layer 1 retail users. If you did stake your DOG Go to the Moon, go and claim it now, because you can claim your rewards along with getting your original back. It is open now. But if you are a founder and you want to create a staking vault for your community, head over to the Discord. They have a team waiting for you guys to answer any questions that you have, and they'll set up a staking vault for your community. Very, very helpful for your community to be able to earn off of their fungibles or their ordinals there. They also have an amazing airdrop tool. So let's say you have an ordinal community and you etch the rune and you want to airdrop the rune, you can do so with their airdrop tool. Very simple. If you have multiple addresses, you can either upload them to a CSV file and then save that and then upload the file there, or you can just do it manually and enter it one by one there. But it's very efficient, fast, and cost effective to do that there. I would say head over to fluidtokens.com. You can learn about the Cardano side or the Bitcoin side. On the Cardano side, they also have their Aquarium platform that you can earn Babel fees on. So it's really interesting. Head over there, get connected with their Discord, and just start there. That's step one. And then Tokyo Wallet, the multi-chain smart wallet. If you have an iPhone, go to the Apple App Store to download it. If you have an Android, go to Google Play. This team is constantly adding new feature and environments. So they also started on Cardano, so you can actually swap for SNEC there. I know that's a popular meme coin over there, but if you want to swap for DOG Go to the Moon or Billy, you can do so, because they partnered with Sats Terminal. So you can actually swap directly in the app there, guys. If you're looking for alpha, we're actually in their alpha section, so you can go to the YouTube area. They have other bigger channels as well, like I think Cryptos Are Us with George and all them too as well. So check them out. Give us some feedback. If there's a new feature you want added, let us know. They're going to be adding some really cool features for their token. They have their native token called Toke. I'm not going to put too much information into this. Let's just say there's going to be earning opportunities for that. Once they post that to the public, guys, we will dive into that and do a tutorial video for you guys on how to participate with that. But expect big things from this group here, man. They're constantly just knocking it out of the park. And then Merlin Chain, uniting Bitcoin strength with the power of AI. They have their AI 0.03 wizard tool that guides you through Merlin Chain. So if you want to stake to help, secure the chain, you can go to merlinchain.io, click on the stake link there, and then you can currently earn up to 15% APR. So the only thing you have to do is if you add it and you want to withdraw your Merlin Chain tokens, it does take a 7-day period for that to happen. But they're going to be adding the 6-month locking period very soon here later this week that you can earn APR to 45%. You're going to actually be able to withdraw the rewards from that on the daily. So exciting options that are coming. This team is crushing it, partnering with getting on Binance Alpha, getting on Pancake Swap, doing $400 million a day in volume is absolutely nuts. And they did $1 billion in volume. So, Jeff and his team is very well connected, and I expect huge things for them. So sorry, Jeff, if I put too much pressure. I just every day is a new headline with it. So head over to merlinchain.io and you can check out their entire ecosystem and watch out for some new projects also launching in their ecosystem. Lastly is our integrated partners in Jungle, which was formerly Foxy AI, building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse, and their first-person shooter game called Cypher Striker. They are also a gamer builder ecosystem. So they have the Bitcoin Derby guys that are a part of that, and there's going to be more builders named in the future. And don't forget about Ordinal Hive and our guy Fonzie. They are an aggregator for ordinals. So similar to what SAS Terminal is doing, they're doing for ordinals. Cheapest ordinals around will be on Ordinal Hive, and they have amazing trader tools as well. Check those guys out. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this entire time. We appreciate you guys.
Yep. Great job, man. And real quick, we did have a couple comments. Malamiri says, good show. Catch you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you. Drex says, no roll call today, or I missed it. You did miss it, Drex. It was about 15-20 minutes ago, but you definitely did make roll call. Mogar says he has a couple things here. He said, oh snap, I think he wants to keep the data private so you can only one vanishes. And then he says they will get the world online with government-backed Starlink internet, cheap smartphones. It seems like he is a Elon Musk guy right here. Shout out to Mogar the Great. But appreciate every single one of you guys who makes roll call. And but let's jump into if you guys have a few more minutes and wouldn't mind checking out OnChainRevolution.io. Some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel like it can help them get started and code up to where we are today. Brand new article just dropped last week. Bitcoin, Ethereum, go corporate. Definitely check this one out if you haven't yet. We got many more. You guys can just jump through one by one. Real quick reads. We do that for you guys. And also, if you guys need a VPN, I highly recommend Nord. It is my personal favorite. I have 2 accounts there. Each account gets you about 5 devices. I have about 10 devices in my house. My kids' phones have the VPN on, everybody. But they're super cheap. That's why I got 2. I think I pay $3 a month for each, right? So I locked them both in for 2 years and set it, forget it. Remind me again what I need to pay because it is so cheap, guys. $64 for 2 years. I am down for it. And if you guys need some merch, we're going to be adding new stuff to the merch store every single day. I was going to say the Bitcoin thing, but
yeah, I need to update that.
But you guys need merch. I'm going to be adding some stuff today, actually. And if you guys want us to add anything, just let us know. We can add pretty much anything, any logo, anything for you guys, and have it on the store. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're a project founder and you want to get your stuff listed on our site, we would have no problem putting that in there for you guys, man. Just let us know, and we appreciate every single person who at least takes a look at the merch that we're cooking. But guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. Until tomorrow.
Peace. OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear track. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex.
I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain Revolution.